We have previously presented the Cupra Tavascan VZ to you in a traditional review format, featuring an extensive and detailed driving report right here in Germany. And that's what we want to build on today and take to the highway. That means we want to test what the Tavascan VZ with over 300 horsepower and all-wheel drive consumes at 100 and 120, 140, 160 kilometers per hour. We want to do the charging check with you and see if the car can charge quickly so you can calmly plan your long distance and holiday trips. And we generally want to take a closer look at how the ride comfort is, as well as how rebellious or stable it feels when driving at top speed on the highway. I'd say we're not wasting any time at all. Please check if you have the ticket for the Cupra Tavascan. That's a free subscription with us. That would be the maximum support you could give us. And then you won't miss out on any of the top and most exciting new videos that focus on electromobility. Let's not waste time, Stefan, shall we?
Yeah, shall we start then?
Let's embark on our adventure with the all-new Cupra Tavascan VZ in style. We've set off on our journey with the Cupra Tavascan VZ as we make our way towards the A20 motorway. This is our test track, which we always choose for all the electric cars to measure their consumption rates at 120, 140 and 160 kilometers per hour. To experience, let's talk about the baseline. We have the VZ, that means the all-wheel drive with 340 horsepower, 2 electric motors, one on the front axle, one on the rear axle. We have winter tires on in 21 inches, I believe with 2.55 tires. So possibly not the best conditions for such a high-performance electric car, because the smaller and narrower the tires are, the lower the energy consumption tends to be. And the outside temperature is currently at 9.5 degrees Celsius, and we've got kind of an overcast weather situation. I would say that the wind here in Mecklenburg is usually quite fresh and brisk. Whether it has any special effects today, similar to what we saw before with the NIO ET7, we'll be sure to update you on that later. This information will be really quite useful, so ideally we should be in a position to provide all the relevant details you need. Determine the initial value together with you. Let's get started. I have calibrated the travel assist to maintain a speed of 100 kilometers per hour. We're now going to reset the onboard computer together and plan to find out over the stretch of the next 20 kilometers as we head north on the A20 what kind of consumption the Cupra Tavascan will show us. Stefan, do you have any predictions or guesses?
Wow, yeah, I'd probably estimate it to be around 18 or possibly 19, I'd say.
Yeah, let's take a look. On board here with the VZ package, we have also got the travel assist feature. Travel assist implies that we have a lane keeping assistance are paired with a steering assistant. Additionally, we have a traffic sign recognition system that can also access navigation data, including topographic information, aiming to provide us with maximum semi-autonomous support while we are on the road. The whole system is supported by a capacitive steering wheel. That means 3 fingers on the wheel are enough for the vehicle to recognize that we are attentive. And so it maintains the 100 kilometers per hour really nicely. And as you can see here, even in the curve, it consistently holds its position in the lane center very smoothly, utilizing radar sensors when near large trucks. This smoothness continues as you accelerate, ensuring a comfortable and enjoyable drive. I must say, the travel assist from the VW Group is undoubtedly one of the best systems currently available for purchase with money. BMW and Mercedes can do it just as well, maybe a small nuance better. But that's really top of the tops. No American supercar manufacturer with their autopilot can match that. Respectively, somehow a Chinese super automobile manufacturer with its pilot system, as I believe this particular technology is still making advancements, especially in conjunction with the head-up display here in the Cupra Tavascan with augmented reality support, where you basically always know how the car sees it, how the car thinks it. What is the car doing? I really have to say this is an absolutely fantastic system that doesn't keep beeping and jingling, nor does it get on your nerves in any manner. A symbol pops up, you put 3 fingers on the steering wheel, and then it goes on for quite a while again. So this is essentially how I envision semi-autonomous assistance on long journeys, allowing me to reach my destination in the most comfortable way possible. Because you always get distracted by something even if you don't want to. And that's simply really fantastic support.
Yeah, when you receive such great support, like in this current system, there's really nothing to argue about here, actually. Everything is smooth, everything's relaxed, it's really fun.
And in the end, it's the same with the blind spot assistant. It has this really bright light in the side mirror. There's a car coming. You'll notice it, Stefan. Look, now it's on. I immediately see one coming. I catch out of the corner of my eye that someone's in the blind spot. That's how I envision it, and not just some small insignificant light on the exterior side mirror that blinks lightly. Do you perhaps remember when we almost got into a collision with another car in Hamburg while driving the Seal UDMI? Thank God I still did, as always so old-fashioned, like a shoulder check. Otherwise, we'd have given him a nice trim, right?
Yeah, definitely. Not everyone does a shoulder check these days either.
We have determined the initial consumption value for you. We drove 20 kilometers continuously, maintaining a speed of 100 kilometers per hour. For us, it demonstrates that the key point is maintaining an average speed, using 20.4 kilowatt hours for every 100 kilometers we have traveled. Yeah, that's really quite a hefty gulp from the bottle, isn't it?
Yeah, I was sort of hoping for something just under 20.
Perhaps other vehicles in this same class are capable of achieving it at a slightly lower rate than this. But in the end, it's always a question of what do you value? Because we already have an all-wheel drive version here with 340 horsepower and 2 electric motors, which do use a bit.
Yes, that's the AWD norm.
Sure. So that means I've already set the adaptive cruise control system to a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. That was no time wasted at all. Erase the onboard computer together and then determine the next numeric value. For the next 20 kilometers at an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour, a good electric car should include not only route planning but also an appropriate charging plan. We want to perform a detailed test using the voice control feature by saying, "Hey Cupra, could you drive us to number 1 Viktualienmarkt in the beautiful city of Munich?" I honestly have no idea what exactly he's doing right now. Nothing happening, is there? Hello Cupra, hey there Cupra, hi Cupra, would you be so kind as to navigate us over to the beautiful city of Munich, specifically to the address Viktualienmarkt at number 1?
Your planned travel route includes several mandatory charging stops that are required to ensure you can reach your final destination efficiently.
He plans each route with necessary charging stops to ensure a smooth journey. However, I can't engage in conversation as freely as newer voice systems, which improve user interaction greatly and make communication more enjoyable. However, it truthfully seems that I have to articulate the exact specific words, which I then use precisely as the designated navigation command. Then I have to speak out loud. I don't like that at all. Other systems are already capable of handling this much better by allowing me to simply speak freely. What I really appreciate, however, is that I have the option to make an additional selection here during the load planning process. Well, I can filter charging stations like those over 100 kW in the planning. Maybe I want to prefer charging at Ionity or Cupra charging stations, you know. And I think that's a great story that you can really focus on individual options that are available. Something I find appealing as well is the timeline feature here, where I can load accordingly and have a clear overview of just how long it actually takes in total, and so on and so forth. I think I can pre-select or anticipate the charge levels at both the destination and the charging stations along the route. This adds convenience by enabling some pre-planning and ensures a smoother journey overall. There are also premises, since I sometimes arrive at business meetings with less than 10%. Intends to arrive at the intended destination, but rather at approximately 50% or so.
So you can just leave again without overthinking it first.
Exactly, and then sets off again and can then appropriately charge the vehicle on the highway. Yeah, where Cupra has also devoted effort is in optimizing the charging process here in the most recent generation, so that when we choose a charging station, it naturally adjusts its system settings to match the fast charging capability accordingly, so that when we need to charge, we have the battery preconditioned. Should we want to do this spontaneously in everyday life, we can just start it manually here as well. I believe it's been handled excellently. We have now the subsequent consumption value. As you can see here on the screen, we traveled a distance of 20 kilometers with an average speed recorded at 119 kilometers per hour. This was interesting because we actually had the cruise control set constantly at 120 kilometers per hour. Our energy consumption rate came out to be 25.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. kilometers. We will now set the cruise control to 140 kilometers per hour. This change lets us observe how much the Cupra Tavascan VZ uses while maintaining a speed of 140 kilometers per hour over the next 20 kilometers. This test will offer insights into its efficiency in these specific driving conditions. This somehow feels like it's taking an eternity. So the onboard computer has been reset, probably because we went a bit uphill here for a small stretch. And now let's see how his consumption develops. But it is 25.3, Stefan, with a 77 kilowatt hour net battery at 100%. You can barely manage 300 kilometers, and then you arrive at a charging station with just 1 or 2% left.
That really refers to a straight road. You can't simply head into the mountains, like those near Kassel, if you're going in the wrong uphill direction. It becomes very tight.
Even if the noise increases slightly from the clear height, it offers a unique driving experience. Embracing the elevation challenges makes the journey more engaging. So it can be quite close, which is quite nice. Just so far again, right? We are consistently cruising at a comfortable speed of 140 kilometers per hour using distance control, essentially on cruise control. And I must say I'm slightly dazzled by the bright sun here. But the computer reads 138 kilometers per hour, just a slight variance. We drove a total of 21 kilometers, using up energy at a consumption rate of 31.6 kilowatt hours. Sure thing, let's move forward and fully accelerate to achieve the maximum top speed, which is indeed an extraordinarily remarkable and thrilling 180 kilometers per hour, where it's supposed to be electronically limited. Here 182, Gunther has 183. I have to tell you, of course, many people say that's enough in electromobility. It's just not enough for me, since I don't want a 340 horsepower car to be limited at 180 kilometers per hour.
Above all, Cupra wants to embody that. We are sporty, we are modern, we are young. Absolutely, let's drive at 200.
Any normal thinking person who sees 31.6 at 140 won't consistently drive 118.
No, truly no.
Because he would end up spending all his time at the charging station, since the electric car doesn't get fully charged in just 5 minutes like a petrol car does. Or also someone who thinks about their own convenience. So he'll naturally work out where in his electric vehicle he achieves the best combination of driving speed, charging time, and thereby overall travel comfort. Exactly. And that should sort of give us benchmarks for our values here. But when I see that at 140 kilometers per hour, at 9.5, 10 degrees Celsius outside temperature in dry weather, I somehow don't feel like I'm reaching 300 kilometers. Because you have to be honest. So we get about 250 kilometers with it, especially when charging at 1080, since no one charges to 100%. Those are ambitious consumption rates where everyone can imagine their own part. The other question is, do I want to eco-drive with the Cupra Tavascan VZ at just 100 kilometers an hour right behind a truck like some American supercar drivers?
You can manage that with LCP.
Yeah, but that's the big question, isn't it? And I genuinely believe that's really a crucial point when we're being honest with ourselves. It's why so many people say, hey, I just don't have any desire to drive electric. Then I'll just get the diesel. I can drive 150 through and only consume at best 5-6 liters.
Diesel still manages to go about 650 or 600 kilometers. Yes, that's how it truly is. You have to be honest about that.
Our focus should be on developing and designing electric vehicles that truly align with and satisfy people's needs and preferences, rather than attempting to convert individuals who already have established requirements to the concept of electromobility. Yes, exactly. That's the political mindset where we comfortably assume that once the technology is truly advanced enough, people will eventually and naturally switch to electric mobility. But we're living in the here and now and showing how it is right now, and now comes the last stint. 160 kilometers per hour are set in the adaptive cruise control system. I'm resetting the onboard computer along with you now. We're checking to see if we can consistently maintain a speed of 160 kilometers per hour here, and also carefully monitor what the Cupra Tavascan VZ consumes at this steady speed. We covered the last stretch at almost 160 kilometers per hour on average. The onboard computer shows 159 kilometers per hour and a consumption of 32.9 kilowatts. Now it jumps to 33 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's actually quite good in proportion to 140. Maybe it's the westerly winds. We've made a U-turn on the highway. There might have been just a small amount of tailwind right now, whereas previously there was just a little bit of headwind. The values should be guides. I'd suggest checking the tables to compare the Tavascan benchmark, together with the other tested subjects. By the way, a rascal who thinks ill, right? Look, I can set the adaptive cruise control to 200 even though the car only goes up to a top speed of 184. Not too bad, right?
That's actually quite a large amount of copper. How mean.
Yeah, once again, Cupra has truly come up with a remarkably delightful treat for us, creatively designed to catch and maintain our whole interest. Yes, the next objective is to undertake the fast charging test along with you. However, before we actually proceed with that, it's truly important for us to have a full conversation about travel comfort. It's always the question of how to determine travel comfort. That's usually a completely subjective matter. And to eliminate these kinds of issues, to genuinely provide you with a neutral and honest value, we've developed a measuring device that is truly unlike anything else out there. Allow me to introduce you to Stefan's popometer. If you're not familiar yet, it's truly something remarkable. All right then, Stefan, what is it exactly that the Cupra Tavascan is up to today?
Absolutely indeed. It's basically just what I also thoroughly went over in the detailed review that you all have already seen.
Link is right here.
Correct. I'm really sitting very comfortably here in this sports seat. It's really, you have the perfect lateral support. The thigh support is mega good. The seat surface is very nice. Captures, I genuinely believe, the comprehensive concept that it really should be very sporty. When it comes to the chassis, it's quite firm yet remains comfortable, with no noticeable body roll, and I think it even includes a good steering feel. Yes, I really like it.
You had the chance to drive it yourself just yesterday as I was drafting the report for the T&E magazine on the BYD line No. Wrote 7, and that's when I really noticed, in a way that's different from when you're sitting in the driver's seat, just how firmly and smoothly it manages to handle bumps and all sorts of road irregularities that you come across, because it's indeed a very driver-focused car. That means you are really purchasing a vehicle that embodies this distinct Spanish emotion along with that fiery Spanish temperament. Then it's meant to suggest to you. And as a result, it gives you a completely different feeling or experience whether you're sitting in the passenger seat or behind the wheel in the driver's seat. As a driver, I find it genuinely awesome and thrilling. However, as a passenger, particularly when you're on a laptop like I am and writing a detailed report, it can be quite difficult because you really feel the road bumps. Drivers can detect every detail, and when the track is somewhat challenging and bumpy, the entire experience changes quite completely once again. If you're in the market for a vehicle that truly prioritizes outstanding comfort, especially for those long journeys, you'll likely find that options within the ID family, such as the ID4, ID5, or even the Skoda Enyaq Coupe, offer a more comfortable driving experience compared to the Tavascan, because it's also about ensuring that you can move in a somewhat performant manner when you're on the road. Yes, we are also fast charging capable. We have the battery menu here, which means I can no longer tweak the battery heating, so to speak. But by driving, we have managed to generate enough heat within the battery to be able to immediately charge rapidly with close to the maximum load peak, which comes to around 135 kilowatts in a fast manner. And naturally, we want to test that out with you guys. How much time does it actually take for the Tavascan to charge from 10 all the way up to 80%? We want to accelerate together with you. The road's clear and we're going at 130. We're going 140, have set it in Cupra performance mode, 150, 160, 170. Smoothly, he accelerates to top speed, 180 km pro Stunde. We're going back up nicely here to 183, 184 km pro Stunde. How awesome would it be, Stefan, if we could heat up the BYD line 227 right here, right?
That would be great, yeah.
Especially with the suspension, we're driving through a lovely long sweeping curve here. I have an optimal grip here in the seats. With one hand on the steering wheel, I also have a very, very nice driving sensation. Unfortunately, there's a construction site here, no one behind us. Let's brake a bit sharper. The car remains securely in its lane. There's no swaying, no leaning, and absolutely no veering off course. The meticulousness of German suspension craftsmanship is quite evident here. Cupra has clearly poured a significant amount of dedication, passion, and precise engineering into the suspension systems and the aspects of driving performance. Certainly, yes.
And that's enjoyable, and it clearly shows.
And that's genuinely fantastic, and it also provides you with a reassuring feeling. We have nice, strong brakes here, even though we actually have drum brakes in the back. I'm not particularly a fan of drum brakes either, yet they really do possess the power and inherent strength needed to effectively slow down the Tavascan under various conditions. That's crucial because beyond just acceleration, we also need a strong deceleration to ensure that we can brake effectively in various safety situations that might arise. The Tavascan proudly received a 5-star rating in the comprehensive NCAP crash test, rightfully so. This outcome is due to its extensive array of advanced assistance systems and emergency aids that are all available on board.
Correct?
You know, it's just fun to accelerate through here, right? Yeah, it just pulls through. A vehicle like this is truly built for fast driving, especially if the road permits such speed. I don't want to encourage speeding here, but just look at Mecklenburg. See how nicely you can really drive quickly here. That's also good for the battery. It has now reached 100% fast charging capability. So there are indeed synergies there too. You don't always have to be so eco-minded in every way, right? No, so you certainly can, but you are not necessarily obliged to, right? Right indeed. We've made our way to the Demenerland rest stop here at the Ionity charger, and now we want to take you along as we charge the vehicle from 10 to 80% to see exactly how long this process will take. Yes, the battery is currently sitting at 10% level, and I'm really quite curious about how much time we're going to need to hang around here. As you can see, we arrived at Ionity with a state of charge of 10%, and it even jumped up to 11% shortly after, showing an increase. It's gradually building up a nice charging peak, supposedly reaching a maximum capacity of up to 135 kilowatts, and we're hoping it will take just under 30 minutes to complete the process. Then also charge from 10 to 80%. Yeah, we always really enjoy using free kilometers whenever it comes to charging. We have, so to speak, the InCharge app, the InCharge site, where we can collect free kilometers through online shopping, affiliate links, where we can rate such charging stations, where there are great challenges to earn even more free kilometers again. And then, for example, when used in conjunction with the charging card, it is also completely free of charge here at Ionity and all accepted. Charging stations, then reload. We've already been able to charge for free over 46,000 kilometers that way. If you're interested, I'll gladly put a link to InCharge in the video description for you. Yeah, 138 kilowatts, holy moly indeed. Barely give you a small tip and it's already starting to go up. We at Simple Electric usually talk about every peak record. 139 kilowatts, 13% in the battery. We've already charged a good 2 kilowatt hours, making progress with the Kugler, right?
Great.
Charging nicely at 134 kilowatt, we're at 32% after act minutes. We've recharged a good 17, almost 18 kilowatt hours, which should be enough for 100 kilometers at 100 kilometers per hour in the summer. I would say I'll give you another quick look at the Tavascan VZ from the outside, and as is customary, we'll start from the front. You can clearly see that it has a strong and assertive appearance, showcasing a rebellious and cutting-edge design. And even here, it has the Cupra symbol illuminated accordingly. Yes, what's very, very nice about the Tavascan, I think, is also the signature here of the headlights with the daytime running lights. You always have full LED headlights, optionally even matrix LED lights, which are great in the dark to prevent blinding oncoming traffic while still getting a lot of driving light. We've got it beautifully in basalt gray metallic, which is a really lovely shade of gray, always paired here with the painted finish. I genuinely adore the black glossy surfaces and find them extremely appealing. Optionally available are the winter tires in 21 inches featuring a classic aerodynamically optimized Cupra rim, where the copper color subtly and elegantly shines through the black glossy finish. I must say it suits him.
Looks really good.
Otherwise, we have a very lovely SUV coupe design over here. It beautifully slopes downward at the rear. The only thing I don't really like are the drum brakes on the rear axle. I think I would have preferred to see disc brakes instead, even though you could clearly see in the video that it still brakes exceptionally well and performs very reliably. Cream slice for me is undeniably also the back section of the car, where you always have this elegant trailing edge avoiding the typical rear spoiler and where the sleek LED taillights come into play. We showed you that in the review, which I think are also super stylish, all the way to the illuminated Cupra symbol. stop there too. Honestly, the only thing I don't really like, of course, is that big, pretty fat shark fin up there. I believe they could have definitely integrated the technology into the bodywork and cleverly into the side mirrors as well. Otherwise, it has 520 liters of trunk space. You can fold the seats down with a pass-through for a long item. 60 to 40, so you can reach about 1,500 liters of storage volume. Roof load should be possible with 75 kilograms and an optional trailer hitch. Then with the rear-wheel drive variant, up to 1 ton of brake trailer load, and with the all-wheel drive, like here, even up to 1.2 tons of brake trailer load. I would have liked a bit more there, as some of you have hobbies like horseback riding, motorboating, or maybe even with the caravan. Yes, yeah. Sometimes a ton or 1.2 tons might actually be somewhat tighter.
Correct.
50% after 15 minutes. It's still charging at 125 kilowatts. That's quite decent. It has already successfully recharged a solid 32 kilowatt hours into the battery pack, which has a net capacity of 77 kilowatt hours. I hope he maintains that from high up on the plateau, because it's not at all about someone hitting 270 kilowatts at the peak and then quickly dropping off, like some American supercars tend to do. And then they just dawdle along, and in the end, you're stuck there for half an hour. Yeah. You might as well give it a constant 120 kilowatts continuously, and you'll be at the same time with the corresponding battery size. So in that respect, every manufacturer has their own approach. Sure, first everyone asks, how fast can it charge? Yes, 250 kilowatts. But how long it takes is actually more crucial than what its maximum peak can be. And I find that the Cupra is doing pretty well so far, as it's still charging at 125 kilowatts with 52%. 80% after a duration of 28 minutes, and that situation is completely fine. Up until now, we have recharged a total of 56.28 kilowatt hours. Certainly he is still fiddling around with sheepsy kilowatt, but I have to honestly say, Volkswagen, or in this instance Cupra, which happens to be part of the Volkswagen group, does indeed stick to its values.
Yeah, when you look at it, I think it only dropped below 100 kilowatts at about 70% or so. Otherwise, it was basically charging up to 120 the whole time. That's good. It seems like you're also doing a little bit to spare the battery.
If you then manage to find a comfortable travel speed that aligns well with the route's topography and all other factors, it's likely a truly nice car to take a pleasant and leisurely trip, or even a longer journey with the Tavascan VZ. Let's conclude with the Cupra Tavascan. We've shown it to you in the familiar classic review, complete with an on-road test drive. I hope you watched the video. Otherwise, I'll link it again in the video description, and today we'll do the consumption drive with the charging check. Yes, Cupra is like, in my opinion, they've achieved a very, very beautiful design for an electric SUV. It's a copy that is not only visually appealing, but also very, very functional and comes well equipped. Of course, in the interior here and there, they might have used slightly higher quality materials, particularly in the door pockets where it might occasionally rattle or rustle slightly. It would have been really nice if there had been a small piece of felt or carpet in there. But if necessary, you can maybe get that yourself from a hardware store or something. Then you can cut accordingly and retrofit. You are able to purchase such materials at a hardware store or similar outlets. Yeah, otherwise you possess, I believe, a vehicle that demonstrates a sporty kind of dominance on the road. Indeed.
Yeah.
Where it's a bit about emotion, where it's a bit about performance, where you can drive sportily, where you get direct feedback as a driver through the steering, through the suspension, kind of like with the seat of the pants sensation. You already heard that from Stefan. And where I believe you still maintain a certain level of travel comfort on long distances.
I think so too. And I believe Cupra sort of appeals more to the younger generation, who might be more attracted to and interested in the eye-catching visual appeal from the outside perspective. Is quite nice and sporty, and visually it really stands out, I would say. It also offers a pleasant driving experience and appears to be a little more agile overall. Even just because of the nice racing seats here, I'd say. Or they aren't really, they're just the sports seats. But even that alone presents itself as somewhat more modern, conveying an impression that's kind of intentionally aimed at attracting the younger buyer.
Exactly, so you can opt for racing seats as an optional extra as well. They're included as part of an adrenaline package that offers several additional features. Choosing Cupra offers you a secure 5-year warranty. This is quite significant if you plan to lease the vehicle for a period of about 3 to 4 years, providing you with peace of mind. You're fully covered there as well. The Cupra Tavascan starts at a base price of 53,240 euros with rear-wheel drive and 210 kilowatts, 286 horsepower. Or you can opt for the all-wheel drive version, starting just over 60,700 euros with 250 kilowatts to 300 kilowatts. Featuring 40 horsepower and an all-wheel drive system with 2 distinct electric motors, one on each axle, leasing begins at roughly €399. I truly believe that's certainly quite an intriguing concept.
So definitely very interesting when it comes to the vehicle price.
Instead of laying down 50 kilos all at once, you might want to consider leasing, use the vehicle for a specific period, and when the time is right, transition to the newer generation Tavascan. This strategy keeps you continuously updated with the most recent advancements in vehicle technology. Throughout the past 3 or 4 years, we've witnessed how the Volkswagen Group has significantly advanced and improved in terms of their charging performance capabilities. That's roughly an impressive 7 more minutes of charging power with the same battery pack. Yes.
It's all about the OCR update, like new software, etc.
Exactly, back then these were somehow copper-colored tiles, but today they have become nice and colorful tiles just like the ones you're familiar with from your smartphone or tablet devices. The ongoing development continues to advance, and particularly in the field of electromobility, we are nowhere near finished. I truly think we are still at the starting point. I can only recommend, feel free to stop by at several of the many Cupra dealers. They'll gladly allow you to take a test drive. Visit the city garages located in Berlin and Munich, where you'll receive excellent attention, and simply take it out for a trial spin. Experience this emotion and this unique feeling for the vehicle yourself, and don't hesitate to write in the comments section about your impressions and how you perceive the driving experience. And with that, we have reached the end of today's video with the Cupra Tavascan. I hope you found the video enjoyable. Please give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to check if you're part of the einfach elektrische community. If not, we'd love your support with a subscription. It greatly helps our work. And then we'll catch up with you in the upcoming electric vehicles video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy and see you soon. Yours, Olli. Hey, Stefan, about that illuminated Cupra logo, right?
I really like the complete silhouette at the back.
So awesome, isn't it?
That's really awesome.
What I just can't really get over is this thick, fat, disgusting, ugly, knobby black shark lock. You know what I mean?
Always something.
If that were in the bodywork, and so if it were gone, right, that would create a completely different emotion.